Hey guys, Eagle Trading checking in 6:04 p.m. There's a ton of time we have this weekend to go over all the numbers on what we saw in the market today, some of the trades that we did, some of the interesting movement I saw all over the board, from IWM small caps to the XLF financials to oil. I mean, there's a ton to cover this weekend, and we got plenty of time to do that. But we've always been, looking at the S&P 500, SPY. We're looking at Dow Jones, but we really haven't taken a close look at the leader of all this bull market, and that's the QQQ Nasdaq 100. So it's the only index that has not broken its long-term trend line. And it doesn't matter where we pivot it, where we check it out from. We could zoom in on the longer-term consolidation channel, where we had the rolling top and then we broke through and then retested the line and took off to the upside. It doesn't really matter where we look at this from. It's the same result, and we can zoom in and I'll show you right in this area here. Here's your top line pivot. Here's the breakdown channel on the long-term trend line. We go back and retest that pivot. We try to break through, and then we have this failure, and then we bounce back up and retest it, and we blow through, and the volume starts to increase. We never look back. So whether we go from these candles in the bottom, and we're always getting common touches, we don't draw the very bottoms of candles. We want to make sure we get common touches through reversal areas. We know open right above the line, close right on the line. These are important areas, and I'll zoom in to current day and show you what I'm looking at. So it doesn't really matter where we draw the lines from. Do we draw it from, the pivot breakout in here, or do we draw it from the lower portion of the V reversal? It comes to the same conclusion, and regardless of how far apart they travel through the trend line, they both intersect and meet in present day right where we're at, and that's in this period right here. So this is huge, and it's crucial that we obviously hold this, but let's also look at a close-up of the Nasdaq 100 and kind of figure out what's going on here. So I didn't want to draw the channel top to the candles on, before we failed here. They weren't really important. I mean, we had this long kind of lagging, just complacency and up and down, for the longest time. Those aren't really high volume candles, we don't get into panic mode, and we can't really chart until we have that big drop. And here's the huge drop. This is the highest volume candle that we saw in this whole sell-off on QQQ. So this is meaningful, and we want to see what happens after that. And this is where we fail at. So these candles to me are more important than any other candles. The sell-off kind of starts slow, and then it gains some intensity, and now it's like, this is for real, right? And then here's the bounce, right? A lot of buyers there. Huge interest. But then what happens? We break to the top line channel, and then we roll back. So this candle to me is very important, and I'll show you why. As we go further down the line, we retest it again, and then we pull back, and then we just push through it. And now we have a battle right along that channel line top. And regardless of whether it's descending, we're still holding the channel line top. Not only holding the channel line top, but we're holding the 20. Here's where the 20 broke. Here's where the 20 tried to regain. The top of the candle taps the 20, and right on the trend line that we drew. So now we stay under the 20, start to pull away from the 20, pull away from the 20, pull away, and now we're starting to get close, right? And then we pop it. We pop the 20 on the big reversal volume, probably the fourth biggest in this entrenched retracement on the Nasdaq 100. And then we go retest that line, right? And then we kind of pull back, but we have an inside day with a higher low. And then we push through. All right, everything's, we're getting back on course here. Now we start to kind of falter because the volume is not there. Look at the volume. People are sitting on their hands. We've gone so far back, I'm not going to sell here, right? So the sellers take over. Another day, you have a little bit higher volume. Sellers went out, and they push it back down, but they can't get it below the 20 again. And then what do? We fire back up. Today, we fire back up again. We close right along the line. I mean, we didn't close to the low of the day. I mean, we're still holding this trend line. So are we going to get another bear trap here? Bears have had every chance they could to push this market lower. And they're definitely making some headway on the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial, and we can show those charts too later. But they're not able to break the Nasdaq here. So something's going to happen here. Either Nasdaq's going to join the party to the downside, or the market's going to stabilize here and get another little head fake at the 246 on the SPY, and we're going to shoot to the upside next week because everybody's expecting us to roll back down lower. And you can see that the IWMs are weak, the XLF financials are weak. Oil got a 2-day rally here off a way oversold condition. but the numbers have been horrible. The economy's, everything's out there. I'm sure we're gonna have worse news over this weekend too with the virus. But why can they not break this QQQ? So something's gonna happen here. Either this is gonna join, the S&P 500 and Dow Jones to the downside, or we're gonna hold here and we're gonna sustain this back and forth consolidation, hold the 20, and we're gonna fire off it to the upside. It sounds crazy, but it's like we're just waiting. It's waiting, building some energy here. Low volume. These aren't very high volume here. I mean, here's some high volume. The buyers come in. And then you have this spinning top here on this candle, and it's kind of some, unsure of what the next move is. Actually, on the S&P 500 and the Dow, we broke on this day below the closing lows, but not here. So the QQQ is strong, although we're seeing a pullback today. Microsoft gave us some ground, and Amazon gave us some ground, but they're not able to break it. So I mean, I don't know what the Bears are waiting for. They got to be able to break this, and they can't do it. So let's keep an eye on that. Obviously, if the SPY breaks to the downside and when we close below the 246 support and we start to push through on volume and we start to get a couple of days below there in the 245, 244, we're going to 241. We're going to 240.70 and change. But what do we do when we get there? You buy the hell out of the QQQ on the upside. So let's keep an eye on that, and we'll talk more this weekend.